I am a concept artist working for films and gaming industry, and I have worked on projects like Rainbow Six Extraction, Rengoku Legends, and couple few more. Uh, I have experience of working with clients like DNAG, Volta, NetEase, Terraform Studio, Yota, and many more. So I am mostly my specialty is mostly about environment for films and games and keyframes. So right now we are going to talk about concept art and what concept art is. So concept art is a form of visual art that is used to convey an idea for a planned project. So think of it as a project which you have built in your head. Like you have a small story and you want to paint a picture of it. So you can paint several parts of it, and you can have different types of elements in your story, and then you can do that. You can paint characters differently, you can do props differently, you can do environments, whatever. These are some of my examples of my personal projects. I can show the professional work which I have done right now. So these are some of my personal projects which I was exploring in Blender and Photoshop mostly. um, so where it is mostly used, so concept art is majorly used in films and games, and in animation as well. So films like Avatar, Dune, for example, Transformers, Creator. So all of these films have a story, and after that story, there will be a lot of art which will be done, which will be which will include environments, keyframes, characters, props, weapons, all sorts of things which we see in the film, and similarly in games as well. So for games it's little bit different because we have the capacity to explore the environment which is in the game. So we have to make a lot more a lot more art for games, like characters, like different angles of a certain environment, and uh, and props as well. So how it is used, it helps shaping the world of a project. So think about think about uh, think about any game you play. So when you play the game, there's basically concept art done for each and every major level, and a lot um, a lot a lot of concepts have been done before creating the creating the games, creating the levels. Mostly there are game developers and level designers. So what happens is game developers and level designers give you a block out of, maybe for example for this game, they will give you a block out of that level, and you have to come up with ideas of different shapes, different buildings, different type of lighting, and then you'll have to paint on top of that, or sometimes create from scratch as well, to give them examples, to give them ideas, and help the team building the game. So my process, I'll just briefly talk about my process. My process is pretty simple. I've practiced it a lot. So it includes sketching. It includes reference gathering. It includes coming up with a story. And right now we can see this image which we have here. So this represents my reference, my inspirations, my ideas for that particular project which I had worked for. And there's a small roadmap kind of thing. So I will what I will do is I'll kind of draw a simple sketch of what my world look like, and different kind of camera settings. And also I will also gather a few references of films and films and games which are kind of similar to that world but not exactly. So I will have different kind of examples of films and games, and then um, as you can see here, some inspirations of keyframes, close-up shots, like that. And then the later then when I have done thorough research of my project, and then I will come up with sketches like these and these. So they basically help me they basically help me to build the final images in a way which won't give me a problem later. So it's always better to do sketches before doing anything. Either you are doing an Unreal Engine environment, or either you are doing a concept art, or anything. So doing sketches like these, and you don't have to show this type of sketches to anyone. You If you are doing it for a client, then you might have to show if they ask, and if they don't ask, then it's okay. It's just for your own research. So it's for your own ideation and ideas. So I'll come up I sometimes I come up with few sketches like these, um, uh, according to my story. Like the character will walk through here, they'll walk through a walk stone forest, and then they'll have an opening of a vista shot, and then they'll close in to the rock formation sketches, like different kind of thing which I think will be in my environment. And some prop designs, some character designs, and then I will create them into my uh, in 3D Coat, in whatever 3D software which you feel like, ZBrush, 3D Coat, Adobe Medium, whatever you feel like. And after that, after that I will take all those assets, build up a lighting, build everything which I have gathered in references and in sketches, and bring them in Blender according to these kind of sketches as you see here. So my they are my anchor points of any project. So I will always keep my sketches and always keep my final images true to my sketches, because I've already committed to a sketch. So as you can, I hope you guys can see, like there's a sketch there. So I've tried my best to keep this sketch to the final as well. So there's an example of that composition. And for all of these I have done similarly. So this image right here and this image is a commission work. I have done this for Fifth Column Studio. I have a permission to show this, so there's no problem. um, so for even for client and studio, my process is pretty similar. So I think now we talk about how I use Unreal Engine. So my journey with Unreal Engine started because I wanted to tell stories. I've been telling different stories through images so far in my career, but I always felt like there could be more. There could be a way to show that image moving so that it feels different. So I started I started this project, which I will show you in some time. I started this project as a learning process for me, so that I will tackle different challenges in Unreal Engine and build that project as well, and also learn Unreal Engine however I can. So mostly, for me, mostly YouTube helped me. I wish I had any other resource at that time, but it's good that you guys have a better resource to learn Unreal Engine. So my thoughts about Unreal Engine for concept art, or Unreal Engine in general. So use Unreal Engine to your advantage. So what does that mean? I mean by that is, if you are a concept artist and you want to learn Unreal Engine as well, then it's a big advantage for you. So because you already know lighting, you already know how do you place your compositions well, how do you want to tell the stories, and stuff like that will help you building any Unreal Engine environment. And I have done the similar thing for myself as well. I have I've created concept arts before, and now that I know Unreal Engine to some extent, not very best, but to some extent, so now I can create those images into Unreal Engine environment, and they feel really amazing to me. Make your concept art in a living environment in Unreal Engine. That means what I just said. Uh, make your art, whatever painting you feel. If even if you are not a concept artist, you can still get inspired by someone else's work and create Unreal Engine environment, and also give them a credit about that this concept art is from that artist, and I have done a environment Unreal Engine environment. And try to learn more, try to always learn more, what's new out there, what can be done, what can new be done in Unreal Engine. Try to experiment a lot. You will fail a lot, but you will eventually succeed when you learn a lot. And you don't have to always show each and every Unreal Engine environment or any work you do. You don't always have to show. People will always remember what you show them. So if you think you are ready, then take big steps. So if you have learned Unreal Engine enough, so now you can make your own short film, you can make your own, even you can nowadays make your own game. So there's the sky is a limit. So you can come up with stories, come up with try to do it with a small project first and see how your skills are improved. And then if you think that this is going good and you are ready, then you can jump into taking some big steps, make your own film, make your own game someday. So some Unreal Engine environment comparison with my concept art. So this top image you see here is a Blender and Photoshop image. I have done a series of keyframes for a story of my own, which I've created, and I've also created the environment after I created the concept art. So basically, it's a um, short film story, and I've created these concept art and then created the Unreal Engine environment. So as you can see, I'm trying to stick to my concept art as close as I can in Unreal Engine, whether it be the lighting, either the composition, how the character is sitting, and and props, how the props are sitting there, how the tree is, the grass is, everything I've tried to be as close as to concept art. And for this Unreal Engine environment, I am using pretty much the free assets which Megascan and Unreal Marketplace provides you. And for the character, I'm using MetaHuman and using uh, free animation files on top of it. So some more examples. This is a different example, not the short film example. So I've done the similar thing here, and I've done a similar thing with this concept art and then this Unreal Engine environment. So Patrick, do you want me to talk about something specific? You can also always mention.
True, I think we'd have some question about that use design and also the difference between Blender, because it's also 3D software, but I guess the difference about real time, what you can
Yeah,
do, camera, for example, or lightning, very, very fast way compared to Blender. Tell me if I'm
yeah.
wrong.
No, you are actually absolutely right. So Blender is not a real time. Blender does not have a real time engine like Unreal Engine. So that gives us an upper hand with Unreal Engine. We can just drop any asset, anything as quick as possible, and Unreal Engine will give you amazing results just like that. And instead of using Blender for environments like these is a better way. And in a lot of ways it is better. I mean, the lighting which Unreal Engine gives you is a lot more realistic and accurate, and the quality it gives you is spot on, and also it's very quick in comparison with Blender.
And one more time, eh, I'm wrong, but I would say also that as Unreal Engine is also used for game design and for games, it's the result you are
Yeah,
producing when you are producing a concept art will be very close to the game. If you are using Blender, it will be a different rendering, perhaps a little bit more
yeah,
realistic, but this is not what the game will look.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, when I am using Blender, and so when I'm using Blender, I will have to use Photoshop with Blender because Blender won't give you a desired render as you want. You will always have to use your painting skill, your photo batch skill on top of it, and you will have to create an image which you think is close to as realistic as possible. But with Unreal Engine it is a bit different. Unreal Engine is I mean, Unreal Engine gives you a realistic look instantly. Even if you just have a skylight, a directional light, and your exposure correct, it will give you a realistic tree just like that. So that is definitely an advantage with Unreal Engine, I would say.
I have some question, but let me know if you want to wait or if you like.
I can.
Okay,
No, it's okay.
okay. So we have a question from Chang. Use light in Blender or Photoshop as light? Can you change the whole look and feel even in the
Can you
did
tell the
you
question again?
use light in Blender or in other software, or do you do the lightning in the Unreal
Okay.
Engine? So
So when I'm showing you this image and this image, so these are two different images with two different softwares. So coming to the question, did I do lighting in Blender or did I do the lighting in different software? No, I did the lighting in Blender while making a concept art. Also, uh, I did lighting in Unreal Engine when I was doing Unreal Engine scene. So both lighting are different.
um, oh, thought a little bit. So
No problem.
um,
I can answer.
can you speak about the difference in doing preview, making your own shot? So are you doing some pre-visualization or some previs using Unreal or other software, or are you doing the full scene directly in Unreal? You are starting to work on a short film.
So this is my first time doing Unreal Engine short film. So I don't have that much of experience doing a short film. So what my process was, I came up with few sketches like I showed you before for concept art, and then from there I created concept art for my keyframes, which I think are the most important shots of my short film. And when I have shots like these with Blender and Photoshop, I from there uh, from there I start blocking out an Unreal Engine and try to match it as close as to my concept art. So for previous, I didn't do previous, but it's actually smart to do previous if you can. In Unreal Engine, you can do anything like previous. There are many previous softwares, but you can do previous in Unreal Engine. I didn't do for myself, but I know you can do it.
If you were just a student today, what would be software you need to know in terms of
If
3D, like, I don't know, Blender, Maya, or any other?
Okay.
Have it?
So if I'm a student today, what softwares I would prefer
Yeah,
to
yeah, or
to
you
know?
think you need
Okay.
to know if you want to
You
break through
need.
this
Okay.
industry.
Okay. So if you are aiming for gaming industry, I would say I'll be more specific. If you are aiming for gaming industry and you want to be a concept artist, then you must know Photoshop. You must know Blender these days. You must know 3D software which can sculpt or do poly modeling. In that sense, Blender is good, but for sculpting, Blender is not that good yet. Maybe in future. For sculpting, you can use ZBrush and 3D Code. I use 3D Code personally because I learned 3D Code before learning ZBrush, so I didn't give much attention to ZBrush, and it's a lot harder to learn ZBrush, I guess. And Unreal Engine at last, because it's a really amazing software. It can give you so many things. And for my own projects, I am using Unreal Engine as a reference point of what realism I can achieve for my any of my images. So these are the softwares I think must know today.
Because we also have usually a lot of questions. Should I start to learn Maya or software? Different beast.
Yeah, Maya is like you can use Maya, but Maya won't give you a freedom of being so quick. So in concept art industry, you have to be quick. Like you will be asked about giving the client an finished piece in 2 days maybe, or give me a client will ask you like give me some ideas by the end of the day. What will you do then? You will be stuck in Maya forever. I think so because uh, in comparison to Maya and Blender, I'm not saying one is better and one is not. I just feel that Blender has more user-friendly interface and more inclined towards speed. So I will prefer speed over the precision. You don't have to be precise in concept art industry, but you have to be quick and good as well.
I think I will ask other question from the audience, but I think it's something important. I don't know exactly our audience, but sometimes people don't really get that concept art is not about producing a finished, full polished image. Not about this,
Okay.
because there is a
Yes.
kind people are sometimes think about this because they are going on a website like ArtStation and only see beautiful image, but that's absolutely not what you will be asked to produce
Yeah.
at the end.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think when we are talking
So
about
for
concept
that,
art, we are talking about ideas, we are talking about concept. There is this word inside. We are design
yep.
thinking and helping the team to build a world.
Yeah. So for this topic, I will switch back to some other some few slides of mine. So what I have shown you are like these are really pretty images. You can post these on Art Session Facebook or Instagram wherever you want. But concept art is always not always about painting pretty pictures. Sometimes client, like more than 50 to 60% or maybe like 70%, client and studios want images like these, like these, and something like this. Like I know they are rough, but they give you a general idea of what are we trying to do, what are the ideas. So most of the time we are asked to just produce ideas, and ideas generally comes like this kind of sketches, like not very polished, not the most realistic images, but they give you the idea. And also like some instances are like this, that let's say this environment, and already there are many problems. uh, your art director, your team lead, your seniors will ask you that, oh, can you make this much more prettier? Can you make the composition bit better? So they will have a screenshot from their respective engines, whatever they use in the studio. They will have that kind of screenshot, and they will give it to you, and you will have to cut from it. You'll have to stitch it in a different way. You'll have to change the compositions. You'll have to give variations, a lot of variations. So variation is a key of producing different ideas.
And that's also where I think Unreal Engine could
Yeah.
camera to change
Yes.
font for sure. And the 3D models is
Yes.
another story, but just about the mood and changing a little bit the light
Yes.
help you.
Yes, definitely. For example, if this scene were to be made in Unreal Engine, um, sorry. If this scene were to be made in Unreal Engine, then let's say you are an artist working in Unreal Engine and you made this scene, a beautiful scene, and your art director comes and asks you that we don't want a sequence, we just want some screenshots from this scene, but give me five variations of this exact location, five different terrain arrangements, five different type of building arrangements. Maybe the building on top is not there, maybe it's down somewhere here, somewhere in this part. Maybe this building is not there, or maybe this building is there. So in Unreal Engine, that is really quick. But if you are trying to do this in Blender, you'll have to do a lot of work back and forth. You'll have to change the position of buildings. You'll have to change the position of trees, and take a render, and then do your thing in Photoshop. But with Unreal Engine, drag this. You'll just have to drag you'll just have to drag this building to that location, or maybe that building to this location. So that is a quick way to do.
So getting back to a few, and demo, sorry, I'm
Yep.
not sorry if asking if you are using assets made in 3D code directly in Unreal Engine, not too time consuming, or texturing, UV, decimate.
Okay. So this is a very good question, and I have just recently learned about this thing about 3D code, that you can in latest versions of 3D code, you can export directly for Unreal Engine, and you will have an option for your maps. It will ask you for 2K, 1K, 4K, or if you're going to if you want to go higher. But that is actually a fast way to do it. Also, you will not have to do UV maps by your like your manually. You don't have to do it anymore. In 3D Code, you can do it in just 1 or 2 clicks.
Okay, sorry, looks like my microphone sound is a little bit low, so I hope people can hear me well now. I
Okay.
was also wondering, you have worked for the movie and game industry, if it's different, in your opinion, to create concept art for game or for movies. I know you already
Mhm.
have answered a little bit this question, but from your experience, is it a different jobs, and do you feel that Unreal Engine is more applicable in games or movie or both?
So yeah, so I've worked on both films and games. I've worked on games in studio and freelance as well. I've worked for films mostly freelance. So the difference is, yes, both are different. For games, you will have to present, let's say, for this character right here. For this character right here, you will have to present, let's say, 10 variations. But for films, you generally don't have to do 10 variations. For games, it is like that because sometimes games do have updates. Games have skin updates. All sorts of new characters are being added all the times with updates. So your studio will ask you to do maybe 10 variation for a character, but film studio won't ask you to do 10 variation. They might ask you to do four realistic variation of a character, which will look almost almost similar but different in many ways. And Unreal Engine, then if you apply Unreal Engine in film and game, then also it is helpful. Like for an example, I just showed you here. Like if you want to move the building up and there, and it's a easy job in Unreal Engine, and also in film as well. So my experience with film is like um, I've worked on a project which required a big city. I had to like scatter a lot of custom made buildings by the studio, and they wanted me to give a flyover, like a flyaway sequence, a short sequence, so that they can know like how this city is being presented and looking from a distance. So doing that in Unreal Engine is pretty fast.
Because I know you are under NDA, can't tell them you're working, but you can give us a kind of overview of what's your daily job as an artist. Are you doing a lot?
Yeah.
You have seen 3D, Unreal Engine, time in, or is it same kind of breakdown?
Mhm. So for daily task, I'll be honest, like daily tasks are a bit boring. As as I showed you, like you'll have to present sketches, variations, and all. Mostly, it's about designs and design problem solving. You will be asked like, give me a variation for a gun. And if you are working in a film, then you'll you'll be asked things very quickly. And in a daily scenario, tasks are a bit different. Maybe you'll be asked today that, okay, we are going to do a character and or a prop, for example, and we will be doing variations for it. And then maybe next day they will give you a different task which requires a beautiful picture if you are lucky. So we don't always get tasks like painting beautiful pictures. Yes, it is required, but most of the times when it is done, it is all about when you have done a pretty picture, it's all about what goes into that into that environment. Like how buildings are looking, like how, if the buildings are broken, like how are they broken, like what kind of scattering is around that building. all those sorts of details which makes an image realistic.
Like more like a
No, it's yeah. I mean, matte painting is
yeah.
different. Concept art is a bit more quick and precise. Not precise, but matte painting is a bit more precise. Concept art is more about like speed and giving the design solutions. In matte painting, you don't give design solutions. So more
Your
in concept art,
details.
yeah, yeah,
Have you um uh, have you seen some kanji? There is something else happening. Two characters or skill.
yeah. I mean, in terms of skills, studios do require nowadays 3D skills. If you apply for any job today, you will always see that any 3D skill is appreciable. Like either it be a sculpting skill, either it be a polymodeling skill. So any sort of 3D skill is required these days in games and films both, because 3D gives you an upper hand of being fast as well. Before this, studios were not asking like I would say like 3 to 4 years back, studios didn't ask to be using artists to be using 3D softwares as much, but specifically for concept artists, they don't ask for uh, 3D softwares back in those days. But nowadays, mostly 3D is required, and it is better for you as well. So now content is also changing. Much more dynamic content is coming up, films and games both. So having 3D is a good skill.
I remember like
Yeah. Yes.
that on top of that, really want.
I think so, because like many studios are now doing Unreal Engine and photo bashing as well. Like instead of using Blender, they are using Unreal Engine. Some of my friends are also using it. Uh, it will be, I think, it will be a smart move to use Unreal Engine now and switch to Unreal Engine and do your stuff, do your photo bashing, do your painting. See, it's more about what you are presenting and how the studios actually, some of the studios don't even care what software you are using. That is also a reality, and some do care, uh, but it's not that you can't use. If you know Unreal Engine and you can use it, that is up to you. Like that makes your job easier.
I have a fun question about storytelling.
Mhm.
More about
Okay, so
different topic.
uh, no, yeah, I mean, I'm not a professional story writer, so I don't have that kind of skill. But in terms of storytelling, I can share some things. In terms of storytelling, you can you can tell a story through different elements in a particular image. For example, in this image, we see a character, like how he is standing, how his hands are opened, and there's a blood. We are already getting some information about how, like, what is happening here. There's blood, there is forest, there is a man who is standing in a little bit of stress, there is less light, it is a bit dark. So we know that this guy is chasing something, or maybe this guy has faced some incidents where violence was there. Yeah, and for storytelling, I mean, it mostly comes from your head, and listen to more stories, like how people tell stories uh, through through their films. I mostly learn stories through watching films and uh, listening to podcast, or not podcast, but some fictional channels which tell stories about anything.
Are super lucky. We are living in a time where a lot of we
Yeah,
are
yeah,
just curious. I
yeah. So free content is basically, I think, for Unreal Engine as well, or maybe for anything creative you want to learn. YouTube is a very good platform to learn from. I mean, I know that schools and colleges are important. They teach you a lot in deep, and I also sometimes feels that when I'm watching a YouTube video, and I also can't find something specific, I feel that maybe I had a teacher, or I had a specific mentor for this kind of thing. Like sometimes I face problem in Unreal Engine and I can't figure it out for some reason. And also YouTube there's no content like that, so I feel like maybe I had a class, or I had a teacher for me to teach.
a kind of complementary.
Yeah, yeah.
Have a way to convert text to Unreal
Textures from
Blender to
Blender to
Unreal.
Unreal Engine. If you are talking about shaders, then I'm not sure about, but textures in general are available on Quixel. So actually, for this, I actually don't have a perfect answer, but most of the textures and materials you can find on Quixel Bridge. And if you are using Blender Marketplace, then I think there's an export option for textures separately as well. Uh, yeah.
Can we know a little bit more? Your goal? Understand that you are
Okay.
learning and all at the same time, and of the process.
Yeah. Yes. I have done that short film for like I made Unreal Engine environment, and when I started my short making process, then some random problem came up in Unreal Engine, and I had to delete that file and remake that Unreal Engine file again. So learning is a crucial part here. So you don't make the same mistakes on a bigger level. For my short film, uh, it's about a character who is in a forest, and he's there for hunting, and for some reason he couldn't find a animal to hunt for a few days and night. So it's his last night in the forest, and he's trying to relax and all, and by relax by a fire. And he hears something. He hears a creak in forest, and he vaguely see an animal, and he takes the shot. And that you can see, like, the animal was hit here, and there's blood. So he trails, he see the blood trail, and he follows the path, and he finds a cabin in a forest, and there he meets his end. The character dies there. So I mean, the ending I have not yet rendered out of Unreal Engine, but definitely there is some part I can show. So, Patrick, is it okay if I show some clip from my short film? Okay. So there will be no audio for now. I try to keep my concepts as close to as I try to keep my Unreal Engine environment as close to as my concept art.
The proof of
So
concept, or
I would say it's not. I mean, the renders have been made. Like, I've already rendered most of it. So the thing has left is audio and editing and shots I need to cut from this. So as you guys all can see that there are some problems, some good things. So that's a part of learning, and also less resources can get you so far.
time have you?
So on, it's been I think 8 months now, and it's been on and off. I'll be honest, I'm not working it on it for full time. So don't think that if you make a short film, it will take you 8 months. It can take you 8 months if it's five minutes long or so. I am aiming for 3 minutes only. So it's a pretty short film. So all is done in Unreal Engine. All is done in Unreal Engine. Yeah, you're saying.
Do you,
So yes, so the character for character I used MetaHumans. It is also free for Unreal Engine as well. Yeah, that was the short film, but it's
amazing?
not finished.
A lot of work already.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it's
it's
not
not
easy
finished yet,
to
but
create.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when you have a night scene and you light it in Unreal Engine as well, or in any software, if you light it just moon as naturally as possible through moon, it is not possible to get a cinematic look, because in films and in games as well, we can see and observe a lot of fake lights so that it can make a cinematic environment. So always use different lights, always use extra lights. Even if you are doing a day scene, you can use multiple lights as well, and also for night you have to use. So now this is a
No,
sorry
no, I
yeah,
was just saying that at the end process.
yes, yeah, you can color grade in Unreal Engine as well, but I would prefer that take your renders in EXR format and use that EXR format, render in any of your desired editing software, and then color grade it over there. So that way you will have a dynamic range of colors and values more. So you will have much more clarity and much more how we shoot like how we shoot in raw format for photos. It's only like that. You'll have a more dynamic range of color and space. So this is an example I wanted to show you guys. Like, I'm allowed to show it again. So I recently I had a gig for BMW commercial X. The car is X2. So I used Unreal Engine for that. So in that scene, you can. This is a commercial screenshot. I've uh, I've take it out from YouTube. The Make It Real is the title. You can all see the commercial on YouTube. It's available there. So the requirement was different for this shot. They wanted a metaverse which is empty, which doesn't feel real, still looks realistic, but doesn't feel real to the to real elements. Like you won't see textures on the sand dune, you won't see air. Oh, sorry, see air. You won't feel the air. You won't have smoke or whatnot. So a couple of different variation I have gave them according to their requirement. So they come up with their version of this for the commercial. Yeah, yeah. So it always depends on the client what they want. I could have made this as realistic as possible, but they wanted that place to be barren, and they wanted a difference between realistic world and a meta world, because a meta world doesn't feel real even if it is real. A real world will be a real world. So that is
And
that.
did you?
Uh, no, I've only used Unreal
Okay,
Engine and some free assets from Marketplace.
was a perfect example
And
of using provider.
yes, yes, yes. And they were quite happy with that, because like they had so many requirements for light, because they wanted a realistic light, but also it should feel real, but it should also feel wrong in some way. Wrong in means like, if how would you know that this is a meta world if you are standing in a real world? Like how would you differentiate between both? So we had to give a clear example of, like, okay, this is a fake world and this is a realistic world. So the character transitions from meta world to a realistic world through the car.
You had color screen, something.
uh, I created the scenes. I don't think I rendered them out, and I just took a screenshot and painted over it, because it was a quick job, so I couldn't wait for render. Also, if you use Unreal Engine and if you use Blender, then it is amazing, because you don't want to experiment on a deadline and fail there. So I would say keep your comfortable software along with your process, and also Unreal Engine or any other software as well. So that way you will have a space for experimentation and delivering your client on time as well.